The Great Candy Caper, a Halloween heist adventure. It was the most exciting night of the year, Halloween. The air was crisp, the moon was full, and the streets of Willowbrook were buzzing with kids in costumes, bags in hand, ready to collect as much candy as they could. Among the trick-or-treaters were three best friends, Jake, Mia, and Ollie. This year, they had one goal in mind, to get more candy than ever before. Jake, dressed as a superhero, led the way with his red cape flowing behind him. Mia, wearing a sparkly fairy costume, fluttered beside him with her wings glowing in the dark. And Ollie, dressed as a pirate with a patch over one eye, carried a treasure map he had drawn himself. "All right, crew," Jake said, looking at his friends with determination. "This is the year we break the record. The most candy ever." Mia twirled her wand and giggled. "We need to hit all the best houses first. Mrs. Patel gives out the biggest chocolate bars. And don't forget about Mr. Thompson's house," Ollie added, pointing to the map. "I heard he's giving out giant caramel apples this year." The trio set off, their candy bags ready for action. They raced from house to house, filling their bags with chocolates, gummies, lollipops, and candy corn. Everything was going according to plan until they reached the end of Maple Street. As they rounded the corner, they noticed something strange. The biggest, most candy-filled house in town, the Candy Castle, as all the kids called it, was completely dark. The Candy Castle was famous for handing out mountains of candy, and every Halloween, kids lined up for blocks to get their hands on the best treats. But this year, the lights were off, the decorations were missing, and the door was shut tight. "What happened to the Candy Castle?" Mia asked, her fairy wings drooping a little. Jake frowned. "I don't know, but something's definitely wrong." Ollie scratched his head. "Maybe the Candy Castle ran out of candy?" "That's impossible," Jake said. "There's no way they could run out of candy. Something else is going on." Suddenly, the friends heard a rustling behind them. They spun around to see a figure lurking in the shadows. It was a short, stubby man wearing a black cloak and carrying a giant sack. The sack was bulging with candy. "It's a candy thief," Jake whispered, his eyes wide. Mia gasped. "No way. Is he stealing all the candy from the Candy Castle?" Ollie's pirate instincts kicked in. "We can't let him get away with it. That candy belongs to everyone." Without another word, the three friends sprang into action. Jake tightened his superhero cape, Mia clutched her magic wand, and Ollie pulled out his treasure map. "We need a plan," Jake said. "We'll sneak up on him and take back the candy." Ollie pointed to a narrow alley behind the houses. "We can cut him off if we go this way." Mia nodded, her fairy wings glowing brighter as she twirled her wand. "And I'll distract him with my fairy magic." The friends crept down the alley, their hearts pounding with excitement. The candy thief hadn't noticed them yet. He was too busy stuffing more candy into a sack. As they got closer, Mia jumped out from behind a tree and waved her wand. "Hey, you there," she shouted, her wings fluttering dramatically. The candy thief froze, his eyes widening in surprise. "What's this? A fairy?" Mia grinned, trying to look as magical as possible. "That's right. And you're in big trouble. You can't steal the candy from the Candy Castle." While the thief was distracted, Jake and Ollie darted toward the sack of stolen candy. With one swift move, Jake grabbed the sack and Ollie kicked it open, sending candy spilling all over the ground. The candy thief panicked and started running in circles.
"No.
"My candy!" But Jake wasn't going to let him get away that easily. "Superhero powers. Activate," he shouted, leaping forward and grabbing the thief by the cape. The thief struggled, but Jake held on tight. "Who are you, and why are you stealing all the candy?" The thief stopped struggling and slumped his shoulders. All right. I'll tell you. My name is Mr. Grumble, and I'm just really tired of Halloween. Every year, kids take all the candy, and I never get any. So, I thought, if I took it all for myself, maybe I could finally enjoy Halloween." Jake, Mia, and Ollie looked at each other. "That's not how Halloween works," Ollie said, crossing his arms like a stern pirate captain. "Halloween is about sharing, not keeping everything for yourself." Mia nodded, her fairy wings fluttering gently. "If you just asked, I'm sure we could share some candy with you. Mr. Grumble looked surprised. You would share your candy with me? Jake smiled. Of course. Halloween is fun because we all get to enjoy it together. You don't have to take it all for yourself. Mr. Grumble's eyes softened. I never thought of it that way. The friends helped him gather up the spilled candy and returned it to the candy castle. They even gave Mr. Grumble a few pieces of candy to enjoy himself. As they stood in front of the glowing house, the porch light flickered back on, and the door creaked open. Out stepped Mrs. Holloway, the owner of the candy castle. Oh my, you three saved Halloween, she exclaimed. I had no idea someone was trying to steal all the candy. Jake grinned. It was a close call, but we got it back. Mrs. Holloway handed them each a giant chocolate bar as a thank you. You're heroes. Mr. Grumble smiled sheepishly. I'm sorry for all the trouble. I just wanted a little Halloween fun. Well, now you know, Ollie said, patting him on the back. Halloween is more fun when we share it with everyone. As the night came to a close, the trio's candy bags were overflowing, and they had more than enough sweets to share with Mr. Grumble. They walked home together, laughing and munching on their treats, knowing they had just had the most epic Halloween ever. And from that year on, Mr. Grumble became the friendliest candy giver in town, always sharing his sweets with everyone who came to visit.